Chris Doring thinks this game sets up perfectly for Georgia against Notre Dame. Matt, he said that Kirby Smart gets to motivate his offensive line about how important they are because they've got a new quarterback, and he gets to be in the offensive line's face the entire, what is this, 3.5 weeks? Is he right?
I don't know if he's right. I mean, the offensive line doesn't need to hear that from Kirby. They know what they
Oh, okay.
have in
Well, they
Gunner
know.
Stockton. I mean, these are veteran guys. I mean, they're not freshmen and sophomores out there. So this is a collective unit that, when healthy, plays really well together. And we keep hearing the stories about how fired up the team was when Gunner Stockton was announced at halftime. And they know what they've got in Gunner. Gunner's been around for 2.5 years, right? This is not some fresh 4 or 5 star guy. People have known about him for a while. And I do think that this is a big opportunity for him, but Mike Bobo as well, because Gunnar Stockton can't design the plays. It's up to Mike Bobo to have a scheme and a game plan ready that fits Gunner's skill set, and he obviously knows Gunner's skill set as well as anyone. So if we're talking about expanding the run game because of Gunner's ability to run and getting the tight ends involved, it all comes down to the game plan that they design, because there's no reason why they should be showing Notre Dame anything that they've already run. I mean, this is a play caller's dream. You got 2.5, 3 weeks to put together a game plan that could be completely fresh. So if you're Notre Dame, you don't know what to scheme for. You don't know how to game plan, because a lot of these plays they should be seeing for the first time. So I think it's a big opportunity for Mike Bobo to get Gunner Stockton comfortable and to help him be successful. And you do that with a game plan that the defense hasn't seen on film. So big opportunity for both.
Yeah, I think like Matt was hitting it with the beginning there, the offensive line, they had to rally around Gunner. The whole stadium rallied around Gunner when he ran out there, as you guys know. But I don't think that Kirby doesn't have to be in their face over these next few weeks about it. They understand this is a different situation. They're going to play a different style of football, and every game is a season now, because it's
Yep.
it's win or go home at this point, and it's in the playoffs. And most of these, if not all of these guys, completely understand that and have been in that type of situation. And now they have to do it with a different scheme on offense. It's not going to be the same thing as Carson Beck, but we saw against Texas when they were called upon. Hey, look, you've got to step up. He challenged them at halftime. The offensive line got to step up. It's got to be better, and it was. And it was a huge reason why they were able to win that game, was just being able to control the ball and control the time of possession in the second half. It was one of the big reasons why they were so successful. I think that, like Matt said, these are veteran guys, and they're, like Tate Ratledge he still has a bad taste in his mouth from what happened against Alabama in the SEC championship last year. They understand what the moment is, and they know how to win, and I think they'll step up to the plate in that very specific regard.
So my only question or concern is really relates to all this. I don't doubt Mike Bobo, who has been doing this for 20 plus years, or even Kirby or whoever, could design something. Can they execute it? I mean, it's going to be different. That's the biggest thing is, how much Ben Watson, the former Georgia tight end and NFL, player, was talking about how it's going to be a big deal for Lawson Lucky and for Oscar and Urosic and all those guys, as well as the running backs, because it's this is probably going to be closer to the line of scrimmage than with Beck, which was not always driving it down the field anyway, Matt. But it's an opportunity for those guys to really show what they can do. I think that you're going to have to figure out how to get some explosion. My suspicion is that you can go to read option, and if you're having to worry about Gunner getting 4 yards, that could result in ETN getting 40 because you're worried about Gunner. Excuse me, yeah, because you're worried about Gunner. Now, will that happen? I don't know. That's where the execution part comes in.
Absolutely. And personally, I don't like the matchup with Georgia's wide receivers and the Notre Dame secondary, especially with, the drops that they've been having all season long, right? So
And
I
they
do
can
think
shut everybody up, too, by securing every
100%.
ball.
Yeah. Yeah. But some of the biggest plays we've seen in the passing game have gone to Lawson Lucky. And
Yeah.
towards the end of the Texas game, Oscar had 2 big catches. So it is important to get those guys involved, because I mean, that catch that Lawson made on the sideline, he is a difference maker. And that is a hell of a catch that he made. And they can be mismatches in the middle of the field, too. So, of course, you're going to try to game plan, some stuff deep. You got to test their defense vertically at times. But I just think it's going to be really tough. So any way they can create some mismatches and get those tight ends open, that's going to open up things for the receivers. And I think that the running backs are going to be able to help Gunner catch the ball out of the backfield. So he's going to need a safety outlet, right? And a guy that he can really depend on around the line of scrimmage. If he's, trying to scramble and be mobile and, elude defenders, he's going to look for those tight ends and running backs. So, I like where they're sitting right now, but at the end of the day, got to go get it done. It's man versus man. It's still a physical football game. You've got to win your battles, and so we'll see. It would be nice to see them get off to a hot start, but adjustments are going to have to be made throughout the game as well. So I think it's going to come down to the players too, but the coaching is going to matter 100% in this game as well.
Yeah, I think the receivers. I agree with you. I agree with you. I think the tight ends and the running backs will be more involved in the passing game with Gunner, and I think you saw that pretty instantly. But the receivers started catching balls in the third quarter, right? Arian Smith very specifically started making huge plays after 3 drops, at least 2 drops in the first half of the SEC championship, which it's just not okay. Right? I mean, it's not going to win you football games. It's not going to help you win football games. But Beck had a security blanket or 2 last year in just elite guys in Brock Bowers, Lamb McConkey. Obviously, they had that a couple years before that, and they had other guys that were just ballers, right? When you think about A.D. Mitchell, James Cook, and all that. This offense is not loaded like that, but you've got guys that have been around for a long time and guys who stepped up to the plate, like Delp and ETN really stepped up to the plate. And I think it will be heavier on using those guys because this is just going to be a different type of offense. But I think Notre Dame was missing 1 or 2 guys in the secondary against Indiana, right? So I don't know what their status would be for the Sugar Bowl, and that would be huge. But it's one of those games where it's going to be so focused on what's going on in the trenches that a few plays on the outside could be the difference between the 2 teams.
Yeah, I'd be. And I'm sorry, I don't know Notre Dame's roster as well as I do Georgia's. I don't cover Notre Dame, but the big guy in the middle on the defensive line, like him being out, it looked like he was going to be out for a little bit of time. That's a problem. The running back who made the long run then hurdled someone, which I think we should just stop hurdling people. That did not end well. He looked like he was banged up. If you lose those 2 guys, or at least they're limited, that's not going to work. I did want to say this, y'all, since we were talking about the offense. Man, I would still go hard at Notre Dame deep. And Arian, you just need one play from Arian Smith. A deep ball. There's no reason you shouldn't attack down the field with Arian Smith. And if he drops the ball, he drops the ball. I mean, that's become a thing lately, but just what does he do well? What does a hammer do well? It drives a nail. Drive the nail, and let's not try to be a Swiss Army knife. I mean, I would do that. And Dylan Bell can go deep too. So I think if you're Mike Bobo, you have an opportunity here to, Mike has it's like us writing articles or something like that. He's not going to have a problem doing that. Can you get it to the masses? In other words, can he get them to all execute, Matt? That's what this comes down to. This is not about, is Mike Bobo qualified to, I mean, of course he's qualified to do all that. If straight up, if Mike were at Carolina, Gunnar Stockton would probably be at Carolina. So that tells you, I was looking at photos the other day, Ryan, and this was before you were even around. I shot Gunnar in 2019, so I think he would have been a sophomore. Is that right at that moment? So, we've known about Gunnar for a long time, and his ability, he can dance back there with the best of them. He's an exceptional player, but he's got to play quarterback here, and I don't think throwing it deep to some of these super long stride guys like Arian Smith is a problem at all, Ryan. Or Matt.
He did it all the time.
Yeah.
He did it all the time at Raven County. I mean, they were launching it. They had guys. One of them was a walk-on at Georgia the last few years.
That's true.
His name was Braxton Hicks. They were more talented than most of the other 2A schools, and that's who they're playing for the most part. But you saw it. We were there together when we saw him connect on the deep ball against Jefferson. It's something he could do. That was on the run.
That was a great play.
He's not used to. He they launched it all the time. So it's just a matter of, are we going to see those intermediate throws that we saw with Carson Beck a lot, where he's layering it in there between a few guys? That's probably not going to exist as much.
What's your biggest concern, Ryan, going into this thing, and then Matt, and then we'll hop off, as it relates to Gunner?
As it relates to Gunner, just the lack of experience and not being in the situation for a long time. You saw Carson, very talented football player, hadn't started in years, and there was rust. There was obvious rust, even against bad teams like UT Martin and Ball State. It wasn't perfect from the jump. Can Gunner shake off this rust and just be the baller that he's been for years playing football? He's a very talented player. He's got different strengths than Carson, and him and Mike have known each other for a long time, and they should be able to come up with a scheme that's going to work for them. It's all there. He can't drive the football into tight windows the way that Carson can. But outside of that, I mean, he can unlock things for this offense that Carson couldn't, and we saw that against Texas. So this could be a higher potential offense, and we just really didn't know it. It could be worse, but I think it'll be productive.
For me, it's a couple things. One, we haven't seen him lead like a 2-score comeback, right? They were down against Texas. He came in. So if they get down 10-0, 14-0, if he starts to press and put balls in situations where they shouldn't be, I think that would be a little concerning. And then again, just making dumb decisions with the interception that could have cost them the game against Texas.
Yep.
I don't care if he was trying to throw the ball out of bounds. He didn't. And he did the one thing you could not do. And if they lose that game, we're talking about that play a lot, right? So it's the little things there, being smart with the football, taking a sack instead of forcing it into a double coverage. It's the little things, and a lot of that comes with experience. So I do think he's capable of going out and playing really well and leading them to victory. But I'd be a little concerned if they get down early and then you're asking him to do a little too much, more than he's able to do. But again, I think he's absolutely capable, and he's definitely talented. The kid can run. He can spin it. I think with experience, he's only going to get better.
All right. Thanks for watching. We'll see you in New Orleans.